One of the few islands in Okanagan Lake has a unique history. There are only a couple islands in a lake that has a surface area of 351 square kilometers and a shoreline of 270 kilometers. Rattlesnake Island is the largest island in the lake, and in the 1970s it was proposed to become a theme park, which still has remnants of the mini golf course today.
We're about to cross Okanagan Lake and head over to an island where there was once going to be a theme park in the 70s. It's a gray morning here, but that's not going to stop us.
Near Peachland. What, 3 kilometers to Rattlesnake Island?
Yeah.
It's hard to see from here, maybe 2 o'clock.
You know what they say about Rattlesnake Island? Apparently the Ogopogo, the lake monster, lives in a cave underneath the island. So, according to legend, I should say.
Okanagan Lake is also very deep, which contributes to the legend, with an average depth of 76 meters or 250 feet, as well as a max depth of 232 meters or 761 feet. The island was purchased by a Lebanese immigrant, Eddie Haymore. Haymore had dreams of an attraction with Moroccan, Middle Eastern style, and he made plans for a mini Taj Mahal, pyramid, and a 3-story high camel that would serve ice cream from its belly. A ferry from Peachland would bring tourists across the lake to the island. Considering the hot, dry, and desert-like climate of the Okanagan, I don't think this was too crazy. Haymore started construction, and when some Peachland residents got wind of the planned attraction, they believed it would be a threat to the way of life of Peachland, a quote by Des Lone. They voiced their opposition to local governments and the MLA, who was also BC Premier at the time, W.A.C. Bennett. They were small but vocal. Government sided with the opposition, and the Ministry of Municipal Affairs notified Haymore that he needed building permits, even though at the time there were no building permit regulations. On top of that, the government changed Rattlesnake Island zoning to suitable only for forestry and grazing, even when Haymore bought the 5-acre island without any zoning. It was one man against many levels of government determined to stop him. In the summer of 1972, Haymore opened the island for one day, and 700 people attended even though construction wasn't finished. Again, a government official spoiled that too, telling Haymore that he didn't have a permit to ferry people across the lake.
But Eddie Haymore never did finish. By the summer of 1973, his $150,000 Arabian village was abandoned. The only visitors were vandals. He was broke and alone. His wife and children had left him and returned to Alberta.
What it sounds like to me is the provincial government just took a no fun stance. Oh, you want to build a theme park? No, no fun allowed here. We don't want that. We don't want a theme park. We don't want people having fun, you know.
Now Eddie Haymore was suffering financially as the Royal Bank withdrew his loan. He had already invested $170,000 into his dream so far. He was mentally and emotionally stressed. The province offered a piddly $40,000 to buy his island, but the forces working against Haymore had boxed him into a corner. Next, he was charged with threatening to send a letter bomb to the Premier, although no evidence was ever produced. He was held for psychiatric examination and then sent to Riverview Mental Hospital. The pressure forced Haymore to cave and sign over his island for $40,000.
Send me to Crazy House for additional 11 months.
After being released, he traveled back to Lebanon. On February 23, 1976, Haymore and 4 cousins held up to 33 hostages in the Canadian Embassy in Beirut for 9 hours. Haymore had demands he wanted to be heard, and luckily no one was killed. Beirut was experiencing its own conflict at the time, and after the standoff, Haymore stood down and was not charged. This story could easily be a whole other video on its own. Back in Canada, he won a legal battle over the wrong and cruel handling of Rattlesnake Island.
Supreme Court judge said Eddie had been right all along. The government had taken his island unfairly, and although he didn't get the island back, The judge ordered the government to pay Haymore over $200,000 in compensation.
This is the largest remaining foundation on the island.
It'd be cool to see in its heyday. Back in the 80s.
Back at the opening.
Yeah, now it's just remnants. Nothing. Even no rattlesnakes, there's nothing here. You got two corners. You gotta get around these two corners, bump it up this hill over this, pop it in there. Some natural rock. Bit of luck involved for sure. You'll play your rocks, your bounces right.
And I'm not taking a stance for the theme park or against the theme park. Yeah, it's a pretty wild idea. It's out there in left field to have a Moroccan-style theme park on an island in the Okanagan. But could have been cool at the same time. Could have been a lot of fun. Kids could have loved it out here playing mini golf. And it is a beautiful island with panoramic views.
But I do like people who dream big and follow those dreams, even when others around them are calling them crazy. Before we left, I did spot a very small snake in the rocks.
Look how tiny that guy is. I can barely see him. There he goes. This lake is even more calm than when we paddled across this morning. So calm. I think we just got lucky. I don't think the lake is always this calm, especially in the afternoons.
As far as I know, Eddie Haymore is still alive and living in Edmonton.